Hello, in this video we are going to be taking a journey through the theory part of WAEC 2025 mathematics, and I'm sure you will gain value from this. Watch. Question 1 says, given that mu is the set of x such that x is between 1 and 20 exclusive, that means 1 and 20 are not part of x, where x is an integer and p is x such that x is a multiple of 3. A multiple of 3 means those numbers 3 can divide. And q are those set of x such that x is a prime number in this set, where p and q are subset of mu. Find p intersection q prime, p prime union q, and p union q. Let's start by listing out the universal set, which is mu. The universal set is given as 1 to 20 with 1 and 20 exclusive, which means 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So these are what mu is. So this is what mu is. And so p we are given as multiple of 3. What are the multiple of 3 here? They are this, 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 this. So listing them out to be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And q stand for x such that x is a prime number. Remember, prime numbers are those numbers that have only 2 factors, itself and 1. And it starts from 2. So 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19. So these are the prime numbers in this universal set. They have only 2 factors, itself and 1. Now we have gotten p and q. We are asked to look for the intersection of p and q prime. Now let's look for the prime of each of them, since we will need it in the subsequent question. So p prime will be those numbers you find in this universal set that you cannot find in p. So we'll start with 2, there's 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 17, 19. So these are p prime. And q prime, likewise, those numbers you find in the universal set that are not in q. So there's 2 here, there's 2, there's 3, there's 3, there's 4 here, there's no 4. So we start with 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we stop here. So what we are looking for is p intersection q prime. So p intersection q prime will simply be, when you look at p and you look at q prime, what are the common elements you can find in both of them? What can you see here and you can see here also? So let's start. There's 3, no, 6. So we have 6. We have 9. we have 12, we have 15, and we have 18. So these are P intersection Q prime. The next question says P prime union Q. So we have gotten P prime union Q means what are the things you can find in both P prime and Q without repetition. So write out the elements in P prime and Q without repeating any of them. That is what P prime union Q means. So this is, let's start with P prime. We have 2, 3, 4, we have 5, we have 7, we have 8, we have 10, we have 11, we have 13, we have 14, we have 16, 17, and 19. So these are P prime union Q, and P union Q prime is find the elements in P and Q and merge them together without repetition. When you have done with that, you take its complement. But there's another easy way we can do this using a law in set theory called De Morgan's law. De Morgan's law simply says P union Q all prime is the same as P prime intersection Q prime. Likewise, we can take this to this. And De Morgan's law also says P intersection Q prime, the same thing is P prime union Q prime. But this is the one we are interested in. And so this will be, since we have gotten what P prime is and what Q prime is, we simply look for what is common. That is what intersection tells us. What is common between P prime and Q prime? What can you see here? And you can see here. So we see 4, we see 8, we see 10, we see 14, we see 16. So 4, 8, 10, 14, 16, 4, 8, 10, 14, 16. That's all. So these are P union Q all prime, which is equivalent to P prime intersection Q prime by De Morgan's law. De Morgan's mean De Morgan law. For question number 2 of WAEC 2025 theory, it says the product of the ages of Adu and Tanko is 9 less than Akofa's age. If Tanko is 4 years older than Adu and Akofa's age is 6 times Tanko's age, find Akofa's age. Let's first of all use letters of the alphabet to represent the ages of the 3 of them. So let A, T, and K represent the ages of Adu Tanko and Akofa's ages, respectively. Now let's take it bit by bit. The product of the ages of Adu and Tanko, so the product means A times T, is 9 less than Akofa's age. Is 9 less than Akofa's age means if we multiply the ages of Tanko and Adu, their product is 9 less than Akofa's age, meaning if you add 9 to their ages, that is how you will get Akofa's age. Or if you subtract 9 from Akofa's age, that is how you will get the product of their ages. So it's 9 less than Akofa's age. That means Akofa's age is the product of Adu and Tanko's age plus 9. If you add 9 to their ages, the product of their ages, that is how you get Kofa's age. Or if you subtract 9 from Akofa's age, that is how you get the product of their ages. So let's continue. If Tanko is 4 years older than Adu, Tanko is 4 years older than Adu. It means Tanko's age is add 4 years to Adu's age. Adu's age plus 4. That's how we represent it. And Akofa's age is 6 times Tanko's age. Akofa's age is 6 times Tanko's age, T. Find Akofa's age. So we are looking for K. So this is how we represent this statement here. Just these 3 equations. So let's call this equation 1, equation 2, equation 3. We are simply looking for K. So I can decide to substitute T as A plus 4 in equation 1 and equation 3 to leave everything in terms of K and A so that we can find what K is. Or I can decide to substitute A in terms of T in equation 1 and equation 1. I think that will make it much faster. So let's put A equals T minus 4 into equation 1. We will get K equals T minus 4 times T plus 9. And so if we open the bracket, we have K equals T squared minus 4T plus 9. But from equation 3, K is 60. So we substitute 60 here. We have 60 equals T squared minus 4T plus 9. And so T squared minus 4T plus 9, subtract 60 from both sides, minus 60 equals 0. So minus 4T minus 60 will have T squared minus 10T plus 9 equals 0. So at this point, we look for two numbers such that when we multiply it, we get 9, and when we add it, we get minus 10. The two numbers are simply minus 1 and minus 9, because minus 1 times minus 9 will give plus 9, and minus 1 minus 9 will give minus 10. So since the coefficient here is 1, we can simply open two brackets I have t minus 9 minus 1. So that t will be equal to 9 or 1. Since we have gotten what t is, we know that k is 60. And so we substitute if t equals 9, k will be 6 times 9, which will be 54. And if t equals 1, we have k to be 6 times 1 equals 6. But Tanko's age cannot be 1 because if we substitute Tanko's age to be 1 here, we get that Aldo's age becomes minus 3. So Akofa's age equals 54. This is not possible. For question 3 of WAEC 2025 theory, it says a company installs solar panels in its premises to reduce its electricity cost. The monthly savings on electricity in dollar is modeled by x equals 200 plus 50x minus 2x squared, where x is the number of months after installation. At what time will the savings on electricity stop increasing? So how we approach this will be two ways. Meanwhile, if you look at this question, you will notice that this is an application of differentiation. And for us to find what time the savings on electricity will stop increasing, this is a critical point. If you notice, this is a parabola, an inverted parabola, and the sketch is, and this is at a point where it stopped increasing. So this is what we call a critical point. So this is what we are looking for. This is where our month is. That is our x. This is x. For us to find what this is, there are two ways we can do it. We can either use the formula x equals minus b over 2a, where our a is the coefficient of x squared minus 2, our b is the coefficient of x 50, and our c is the constant 200. So minus b over 2a will be minus 50 over 2 times minus 2. This is minus 50 over minus 4. This is 12.5. And so it is at 12.5 that it stopped increasing. Another way we can do this is using the formula for finding critical points. We'll take the x, which will be, if we differentiate a constant, it is 0. If we differentiate 50, we'll have 50x, we'll have 50. If we differentiate minus 2x squared, we'll have minus 4x, minus 4x. And at critical point, this is 0. So we equate this to 0. And for us to find what s is, we take this to the right hand side, minus 4x equal to minus 50. And divide both sides by minus 4. We'll also find that x, the same thing we got here, is 12.5. Now, the second question asks us to find the maximum savings. So, whilst this is the month, the maximum savings will be the corresponding y coordinate of this point where it stopped increasing, because this is where the maximum is. So, what is the corresponding coordinate here? A coordinate point is always written as x, y. We have gotten the x as 12.5. What is the corresponding y? So we just simply substitute 12.5 for x in this. So in x equals 200 plus 50x minus 2x squared, we substitute 12.5. This will be 200 So x 12.5, 200 plus 50, 12.5 minus 2, 12.5 all square. This is 200 plus, if we multiply this, we'll have 625. If we multiply this, we'll have 312.5. And if we add this together, we'll have 825 minus 312.5. And if we subtract this, we'll have 512.5. And so our maximum savings will be $512.5. For question 4 of WAEC 2025 theory mathematics, it says the diagram below shows a tower TR and an observer at O, and the length of OR is 84 meters, and the angle of elevation of the top of the tower T from O is 57 degrees. So here it's 57. The first question says calculate correct to three significant figures the height of the tower. So we're looking for this height first in question A. And since we know a side and an angle, we can use trigonometric ratios to get what h is. And what comes to mind is tan theta, because this is opposite and this is adjacent. Recall that tan theta is opposite over adjacent. And so since theta is 57, tan 57 will be h over 84. And to find h is simply 84 times tan 57. And if we check that on our calculator, we get 129.348. And we are asked to approximate it to three significant figure. This is approximately 129 meters to 3 SF. B says the observer at O moved away from the tower in the same straight line until the angle of elevation of T is 49 degrees. Find correct to two decimal places how far the observer moved backwards. So what we are told is the observer moved forward. Let's reconstruct. So if this was his former location, he moved forward to this point. Initially, here was 57 degrees, and so he moved to 49 degrees. Our height we have gotten as 129 meters, and here to here is 84 meters. We are looking for this distance. Let's call it D. We are looking for D. Now, we'll still use tan theta to find what D is. And recall again, tan, let's use 49. Remember, it is opposite over adjacent, which is 129 over 84 plus D. That's the length of the hole, since we are using 49 degrees and no longer 57 degrees. And so this is how we'll go about looking for what D is. And so 129 is simply 84 plus D tan 49 degree. And I can divide both sides by tan 49 degrees. This cancels. And so 84 plus d is 129 over tan 49 degrees. And d that we are looking for is 129 over tan 49 degrees minus 84. If we do this on our calculator, we'll get 112.137 minus 84. If we subtract 84, we'll get 28.137. And we're asked to approximate it to two decimal places. So approximately 28.14, because two decimal places simply means after point 1, 2. So meter to 2 dp. The fifth question of WAEC 2025 theory is a question on statistics. And let's see what it says. The data represent the scores obtained by 9 applicants in an interview arranged in ascending order. You have to take note of this, ascending order. 3x plus 2, 22, 4x minus 2, 23, 25, 5x minus 4, 29, 29, and x squared minus 7. If you are given that the range is 9, what do we mean by range? The difference between the highest and the lowest. Find the value of x. So, since we are told that these scores are arranged in ascending order, it implies that this is the highest and this is the lowest. And from range, we know that range is simply highest minus lowest. And so that will give us x squared minus 7 minus 3x plus 2 equal to 9, since we are told that the range is 9. And so we subtract, we have x squared minus 7 minus 3x minus 2 equals 9. Collect like terms, x squared minus 3x minus 9 equals 0. Is x squared minus 3x minus 18 equals 0. So two numbers you multiply to get minus 18, and when you add or subtract, you get minus 3, will be minus 6 and plus 3. Because minus 6 times plus 3, you get minus 18. And minus 6 plus 3, you get minus 3. And since the coefficient here is 1, we can open two brackets and put them inside. So we have x minus 6, x plus 3. For this product to be 0, it means their individual factor have to be 0. And if this is 0, we have that x equals 6 or x equals minus 3. But since what we are dealing with here is our scores, and you know that scores here for applicant cannot be negative, so S is 6 and not this. When next we are asked to find the mean mark of the applicant. For us to find the mean mark, we have to substitute x for all this. So for 3x plus 2, it equals 3 times 6 plus 2, and this gives us 18. This gives us 20. For 4x minus 2, this gives us 4 times 6 minus 2. This is 24 minus 2. This is 22. For 5x minus 4, this gives us 5 times 6 minus 4. 5 times 6 is 30 minus 4 is 26. And for x squared minus 7, this is 6 squared minus 7. And 6 squared is 36. 36 minus 7 is 29. And we have, since they are all 9, we have a couple of others. These are just 4. We have 22, we have 23, we have 25, we have 29, we have 29. And so for us to find the mean mark, let us use the space here. The mean is simply sum of the x over how many they are. This will give us 22 plus 23 plus 25 plus 29 plus 29 plus 29 plus 26 plus 22 plus 20, everything over 9. Since we are told they are just 9 terms, if we add this on the calculator, we'll have 225. If we divide it by 9, we'll get exactly 25, because 9 into 22 is 2 times. Remainder 4 into 45 is 5. And so B says if 4 of these applicants who obtained highest score were selected, determine the pass mark. The first thing you want to do is, let's bring out the highest scores, and then we'll now find out what the pass mark is. So what are the top 4 scores? If you notice, 29 appears 3 times, and the next bigger number close to 29 is 26, followed by 25. And so our highest scores are 26, 29, 29, 29. So if 4 of the applicants who obtained the highest score were selected, so these are the 4 that were selected, determine the pass mark. The pass mark definitely will be 26, because we already have 25 here. So pass mark is 26. So those who doesn't have up to 26 will not be selected for this interview. The 6th problem of WAEC 2025 theory mathematics is a problem on electricity bills, and it's good you know how your electricity bills are being calculated. So the question says, in a certain year, the consumption pattern of electricity changes in a town was as follows. The cost of the first 30 units was $1 per unit. The cost of the second 30 units was $7 per unit. The cost of each additional unit was $5. That is per unit too. So there's a lady called Amaka, and we are told if Amaka used 420 units of electricity in January that year, what amount did she pay for electricity bills? Okay, now let's start by listing out the cost of the first 30 units, then the second 30 units, and then before we go ahead to find how much Amaka spent in January. So first 30 units cost, and so since he used 420 units, the first 30 units will cost 30 times $1, which is $30. The second 30 units will cost her $7 per unit, and so it will be 30 times $7, which is 30 times 7 is $210. So if she have used 60 units up to now, and what she used in January was 420 units, we need to know his remaining unit. So the remaining units is 420 minus 30 plus 30. So 420 minus 60, this is 360 units. So it is these 360 units that will be charged $5. So the cost of each additional unit. So additional unit cost will be 360 times $5, and that will be 360 times 5. 300 times 5 is 1.5. 60 times 5 is 300. So this will be $1,800. Now, the question we are asked is, if Amaka used 420 units of electricity in January that year, calculate the total amount she paid. So, total electricity bill will be the sum of this $30 plus $210 plus $1,800. And if we add this is 240, and this will be $2,040. This is the only bill that Amaka spent in January. It shows Amaka could be living in a mansion for paying this exuberant amount of money. The second question asks us, if Amaka paid $2,740 in the month of February, so it has moved from 2,040 to 2,740, calculate the number of units of electricity consumed. Now, we will fall back to this, how electricity is being calculated. We first of all find the cost of each. We are looking for the number of units she consumed in February. So we recall again that first 30 units will cost her 30 times $1, and which is $30. And again, the second 30 units will cost her 30 times $7, and this will give us $210. And then she paid $2,740 in the month of February. Now, for us to get the remaining unit, we are going to subtract this amount from this and then know what's remaining. So this is 240. So the balance, so we need the balance to calculate the number of units she used using the additional unit that cost $5 per unit. So the balance will be this amount, $2,740 minus this $240, and this should give us $2,500. So the balance is $2,500, and so for additional unit, the additional unit, the number of additional units she uses will be $2,500 over $5 per unit. If we divide this will give us 5 into 25 is 500. So 500 units. So the number of units of electricity she consume will be the 30 units plus this 30 units plus this 500 units. So total units of electricity will be 30 plus 30 plus 500, which will be 560 units. So obviously, Amaka consumed more units in February than in January. Now, C asks us, find correct to two decimal places the percentage change in units of electricity consumed by Amaka in January and in February. Why is this important? This to give Amaka a, a well-informed decision on how she will be using the equipment, the facilities she have in her home just to minimize the units she consumes. So she want to know by what percent did her unit increase. So for us to do that, we know how to calculate percentage increase. So percentage change will simply be this unit in February 560 minus the total units she used in January, we were told in A is 420 units minus 420 units over, it will have to be over the January unit because you're taking percentage increase. So over the initial unit, 420 then times 100. And if we subtract this is 140, okay, over 420 times 100. And this is 1000, this is 14,000 over 420. If we divide this is 33.333 and so on. And so in two decimal places simply means after your decimal point, the first two digits. Since this is not up to 5, we round down to 0. And so this is 33.33%. Question 7 of WAEC 2025 mathematics theory is an interesting question on distance, speed, and time. And it says, Yaro drove from a town, Gaja, to Banga. After 2 hours in the journey, he observed that he had covered 80 kilometers. Now, let's sketch that. So, this is Gaja and this is Banga. So, after 2 hours, so let's call here 2 hours. He has covered 80 kilometers. So he still have a lot more to cover. And realize that if he continued driving at the same average speed, he would end up being late for 15 minutes. Okay? So it dawned on him that with the way he was going, there's a high chance of arriving late at his destination. Now, he made a decision. He decided to increase the average speed by 10 kilometers per hour. which is the reasonable thing any man who is driving for an important event can do, he would arrive at Banga 36 minutes earlier. Okay, which is fair. Find the distance between Gaja and Banja. So we are told that if he decides to increase by 10 kilometers per hour, he will arrive earlier. Now we are asked to look for the distance between Gaja and Banja. Let's call this whole distance D. This distance D. So if this whole distance is D and he has covered 2 hours in this distance, the remaining distance, what he has covered in 2 hours is 80 kilometers. The remaining distance will be D minus 80 kilometers. That is this remaining distance. You agree with that? Now let's use this to solve this problem. Now the first thing you want to do is to find the speed at which he was driving when he drove for 80 kilometers and in 2 hours. Recall that speed is distance over time. And so the speed, initial speed will be 80 kilometers he has covered over the 2 hours. This will be 40 kilometers per hour. So this was his initial speed, 40 kilometers per hour. And so at this 40 kilometers per hour, he has covered 80 kilometers distance. So note that the remaining distance to cover is D minus 80 kilometers. Let's put this in bracket. So let's just write it. After 2 hours, remaining distance is D minus 80 kilometers. Now, there is an expected time that Yaro should arrive at Banga. Let T denote his expected arrival time. So if D is his arrival time, and if Yaro continued at this 40 kilometers per hour, if Yaro drives at 40 kilometers per hour, the total time it will take, his total time will be, so the total time he will take for the whole distance will be this first 2 hours plus, how do you calculate time from here? Using this formula, time is simply distance over speed. Since he's driving at 4 kilometers per hour, so it will be, what's the distance? The distance is remaining D minus 80 over the speed he's driving at, 40 kilometers. So since we have used T to denote his expected time, so the total time he will take is this expected time, and we are told that if he's driving at this 40 kilometers per hour, he will arrive 15 minutes late. So the total time he will arrive will be the expected time and 15 minutes late. 15 minutes late means you will have to add 15 minutes to this time, to this expected time. And so, time is usually measured in hours, but this is given in minutes. We have to convert this minutes to hour. And how you convert to hour is you divide 15 by 60, since 60 minutes make an hour. So this is plus 15 over 60. Let's call this equation 1. The next point says, if he then decide to increase the average speed by 10 kilometers per hour, if he increase his average speed by 10 kilometers per hour, so we have to know what his new speed is. His new speed will be the 40 kilometers per hour he was driving at before, plus his new 10. This gives us 50 kilometers per hour. Now again, since we are given time here, it is with this time we are going to use to calculate this distance. So we are going to look for the time he will arrive there if he drives at 50 kilometers per hour. So if Yaro drives at 50 kilometers per hour, his total time of arrival will be, we always put these 2 hours because he have already started the journey. 2 hours plus, again, you calculate the time. Time is distance over speed, and so the distance is still remaining d minus 80 over the speed he's now driving at, which is 50 kilometers per hour. And so for this, we are told that if he increases his speed by 10, he will arrive 36 minutes earlier. What does that mean? 36 minutes earlier means you have to subtract 36 minutes from his expected time. Unlike the first, where he arrives at 15 minutes late, and then you add 15 minutes to his earlier time. So this will be t minus 36 over 60. You want to always convert it to hours. Let's call this equation 2. Now we are looking at distance. We are looking for distance. And so for us to get distance, we can subtract equation 2 from equation 1. Equation 1 minus equation 2. If we do that, 2 we subtract 2, we'll have d minus 80 over 40 minus d minus 80 over 50. This will equal the right hand side. T minus t is 0. 15 over 60 minus 36 over 60, which will be 15 over 60 plus 36 over 60. And so for this, we'll have d minus 80 over 40 minus d minus 80 over 50. This is 60 is common. 15 plus 36 is 46. 51 over 60. So if we look at the denominator, we can easily cancel this 0. It's just like multiplying 2 by 10, we cancel the 0. So the LCM between 4, 5, and 6 is 60. And so if I multiply 2 by 60, I'll have 60 times d minus 80 over 4 minus 60 times d minus 80 over 5 equal to 60 times 51 over 6. And so 4 here is 15. 5 here is 12. 6 here is 10. So if we open the bracket, we'll have 15 times d minus 80 minus 12 times d minus 80 equals 10 times 51 is 510. This is just 15d minus 80 minus 12d minus 80. This is like saying 15x minus 12s. So it will be 3d minus 80 equal to 510. I can divide both sides by 3. So I have d minus 80. 3 into 5 is 1. Into 21 is 170. So I can add 80 to both sides. So d will be 250 kilometers. So what we are looking for, we are asked to look for the distance between Gaja and Baja. Therefore, the distance between Gaja and Banga is 250 kilometers. Such an interesting question. If you have not liked this video, go ahead and like it, share it, and I do hope that you have enjoyed this math so far. The question 8 problem of WAEC 2025 mathematics theory is a question on construction, and most times many students run away from construction. I mean, they have their reasons, but one of the things I want to let you know is construction is one of the simplest topic in mathematics if you know how to go about it. And I mean, with this, you have a huge point when writing this exam. And it says, using a ruler and a pair of compasses only, construct a quadrilateral PQRX such that line PQ is 8.5, line QR is 7.5, angle QPS is 60 degrees, angle PQR is 105 degrees, and X is a point on the locus L1 which is equidistant from PQ and QR. Locus L2 of points equidistant from P and Q. Locate the point K, which is the point of intersection of L1 and L2, and then measure what Ks is. It is usually advisable to get a sketch of what your construction will look like before you go ahead to construct. So let's look at this problem and then figure out the sketch. Okay. So the first thing you want to know is we are constructing a quadrilateral, which is a plane shape bounded by 4 straight lines, not a triangle here, which is much easier in some problem. And we are told that PQ is 8.5. It's usually advisable to make sure that your angles are on the base, and most of the time you want to put the longest side on the base too. So if PQ is 8.5, since it's a sketch, I don't want to use ruler. So if this is P and this is Q and this is 8.5, the angle QPS means the angle is at P, and so it's 60 degree. How do you construct 60 degree here? So you just draw your arc. So you want to construct it inside, not outside. You draw this and then you sketch it out. This is 60 degrees. And angle PQR is 105 degrees. So the angle at Q is 105 degrees. So you want to construct your 105 degrees such that you start counting your degrees from inside. So note that this is 90. And so 105 degrees will be along the side. And of course, how you do that is the same way you construct angle 60. So you draw your arc and then you cut here. So this is 60, this is 60, this is 60. So since this is 60, this is 60. If you divide 60 And you know this is 90. So between here and here is 15 degrees because, sorry, between here and here is 30 degrees. And if you bisect this 30 degrees, you get 15. Bisect means divide an angle into two equal parts. So if you bisect this, you get 15 degrees. And so, and if you bisect it, you get 15 degrees. So if you add 15 to 90, that's how you get your 105 degrees. So this is where your 105 degrees will come from. And so this is 105 degrees. So the next thing we are told is QR is 7.5. So you use your pair of compass, measure 7.5, put it here, and then you cut. So this is 7.5. So this is where your arrow is. And then you go ahead, find X, which is a point on the locus LO1 that is equidistant from PQ, line PQ and QR, line PQ and QR. So how you find X that is equidistant from line PQ and QR is to bisect this 105 degrees. If you bisect this 105 degrees, it will look like this. And so any point from here is equidistant from PQ and QR. So this is what L1 is. And locus L2 of point, equidistance from P and Q. Equidistance from P and Q means to bisect this line, PQ, P and Q. And so you bisect this line into two equal parts by your pair of compass. Locate the point K, which is the point of intersection of L1 and L2. So this is your L2. So this is your K. So at this point, since here is 7.5, we could easily join where these two meet. And we are now asked to measure KS. This is where S is because this is the point that is equidistant from PQ and QR. So we have PQRS. So we're asked to measure this. That's just all we have to do here. Let's go. So let's start with the base. Pardon me, I don't have my protractor yet. It's on the way. Let's start from the base. You want to take your pair of compass, you measure 8.5 cm, and you draw a line. Draw a straight line. First of all, draw a straight line, and then measure 8.5 cm. You cut, and then you cut. So this is your P, and this is your Q. You label 8.5 cm. You could extend this just for you to draw your angles. So the next thing you want to do is, so now that you have gotten the sketch, you don't have to be looking at the problem again. So with this, you know what you are doing. How do we construct 60? To construct 60 simply means take your pair of compass, take any suitable radius that you want, and then put the pin here and draw an arc. When you draw an arc, without adjusting the radius, you cut. This cut you did is just your angle 60 without adjusting the radius. And so since we have gotten 60, we take it out. So this is your angle 60. We have gotten 60 here. So we want to construct 105 degrees. So to construct 105 degrees, we will need to construct 60 first. The same thing here. You take a suitable radius, you draw an arc. Without adjusting, you place your pin here. You place your pin here. You cut. without adjusting to, you could place your pin here and cut, or you could place your pin here and cut. Both of them are the same. So each of these is 60, 60, 60. And so if you want to get your 90, you bisect this 60. If you bisect this 60, you could extend your arc or your pair of compass, the radius, and draw an arc here. You put the pin here again, you cut, and then you join this with a short dashes line, since it's not necessary in what we are doing. So we have gotten 90. What we are looking for is 105. This is 60, this is 90. Remember, this is 120. From here to here is 30. So we have to bisect this 30 to add 15 to the 90, because 90 plus 15 is 105. So I place my pin here, I cut, I place my pin here without adjusting, I cut. So I join this. I join this to this point. So now I can now extend with a thick line. So from here to here is now my 105 degrees. And this is my Q, this is my P. We are not told that this is 7.5. So what you do, you take your pair of compass, measure 7.5 on your ruler, place your pin here, and then cut 7.5. So this is where your arrow will be. So, and you label here 7.5. Like I said, this CM, yes. You don't have to be looking at the problem again, you're just looking at this. Now, the next thing you want to do is to look for the locus of points, equidistance from line PQ and line QR. The locus of point that is equidistant between two lines is the bisection of the angle. So any point at this line is equidistant from these two. So what we have to do to get the first locus of point is to bisect this 105. And how we bisect is you take a suitable radius in your pair of compass, place your pin here, and then draw an arc. Place the pin here, you draw an arc, and then you bisect. So where this point meets is where you call S. So any point along this line is equal distance from this line and this line. So we'll call this L1. For the L2, our locus L2, which is equidistant from P and Q, it simply means to bisect this line. And how you bisect is place your pair of compass here, take any suitable radius, you draw an arc above, let's say like this, without still leaving it here, you draw it below again. So without adjusting, place it here, you cut, and then you join together. So you join together. And so you call this LO2 of point. Since you are looking for, you are constructing a quadrilateral. So you have to combine these two. This Q to this S, you have to combine. So this is your quadrilateral. And the last point says measure KS. And you are told to label K where your locus LO1 of point and your locus LO2 of point meet. So this is where they meet. This is K. You have to measure what KS is. And if you do the right construction, your measurement of KS will be 1.1 centimeter. This will be your correct measurement. I mean, without even protractor, my construction looks so beautiful. And I hope that you understand what I did and you should do better. For question 9 of WAEC 2025 theory mathematics, we have a problem on what problem on algebra that requires finance on ratio 2 and area of a sector and perimeter of a sector. Let's see what it says. Mrs. Otu spends 1/9 of her monthly salary on rent, 1/2 on food, 1/4 on clothes, and still had 195 left. How much does she earn in a month? So this is a what problem? You want to start with what you are looking for. How much does she earn in a month? So we say let it be X. Let her monthly income be X. So she spent 1/9 of this her monthly income on rent. So rent consumes X/9. Food consumes X/2. That's huge. That's huge. She eats a lot. Anyways, clothing consumes X/4. And at the end of the day, we are told that she still have $195 remaining. Interesting. So if we subtract all this her expenditure from her income in a month, we should have 195. That's what this means. That is her expenditure minus her rent minus her food minus her clothing, we should still have $195 remaining. So what's the LCM between 9, 2, 4? This should be 36. So we want to multiply through by 36. Multiply through by the LCM 36. So we have 36 times x minus 36 times x/9 minus 36 times x/2 minus 36 times x/4 equal to 36 times 195. And so this will be 36x. 9 here is 4. This will be minus 4x. 2 here is 18. This will be minus 18x. 4 here is 9. This will be minus 9x equal 70, 20. If you multiply that, 36 minus 18x is 18x, minus 9s is 9s, minus 4x is 5x. So we'll have 5x equals 70, 20. So divide both sides by 5. 5 here, 5 into 7 is 1, into 20 is 4, into 2 it cannot, into 20 is 4. So her monthly income is $1,404. 0.00. But if we analyze this critically, it means she has a bad spending habit. How can you earn about $1,400 a month, and when you are done spending on yourself, you have 195? If you continue like this, I'm sorry, I'm joking. B says a sector of a circle of radius 6 cm subtends an angle of 105 degrees at the center. Calculate the perimeter of the sector. So remember what a sector is. You have this and you have this. So we are told that the angle here is 105 degrees and the radius is 6 cm. 6 cm. Calculate the perimeter of the sector. So, this is what the length of arc means. This is an arc. Remember, perimeter simply means the distance around a plane figure. So, the perimeter will be this plus this plus this. So, perimeter equals length of an arc, remember, is theta over 360 times the circumference of a circle, 2 pi r, plus these two radii, 2r. And so this will give us, to make things easier, we can factorize this 2r out and we can get 2r bracket. We are left with pi here, theta pi over 360 plus 1. Yes. And so this is 2 times 6 is 12. Theta is 105 times pi is 22 over 7 over 360 plus 1. If we multiply this with this, you should get 23 centimeter. And that's the distance around this object. For question II, we are asked to find the area of the sector. And so recall that area of a sector is simply theta over 360 times area of a circle pi r square. And this will be 105, yes, over 360 times 22 over 7 times 6 square. To multiply this on our calculator, we should get 33 cm square. Question 10 on WAEC 2025 mathematics is a problem on variation and circle geometry. Let's see what it says. The cost C of feeding some students in a class is partly constant and partly varies as the number of students n in the class. For 8 students, it costs $70, and for 10 students, it costs $90. Find an expression for C in terms of n only. So for you to solve this problem, you should know how to represent a partial variation. We have 4 types of variation. We have the direct variation, we have the inverse variation, we have the joint variation, and we have the partial variation. And so how do we represent this? The cost C is partly constant. So with this partly constant, we introduce a constant. Let's call it A. And partly varies as the number of students n. We introduce another constant, B n. The cost is partly constant and partly varies with the number of students n. So with this relationship, we can find what A and B is. And so we can now find an expression for C in terms of n. So for 8 students, the cost is $70. So 70 A plus 8 students, 8B. And for 10 students, the cost is $90. 90 A plus 10B. So we use elimination method, can eliminate A, which is much easier, and then we'll find B. Let's call this equation 1, this equation 2. We subtract 2 minus 1. 90 minus 20, 70 is 20. A minus A is gone. 10 minus 8B is 2B. And so can divide both sides by 2 and get our B as 10. So to find what A is, we substitute 10 for B in equation 1 or 2. Let's try equation 1. Put B equal 10 into equation 1, I. And so we'll have 70 equal A plus, if B is 10, so it will be 8 times 10, 80. So that A will be 70 minus 80, which is minus 10. But what we are looking for is an expression for C in terms of n. So recall, our C will now be A, we have gotten as minus 10, plus B, which we have gotten as 10n. So this is the expression we are looking for. I say, what is the cost of feeding 12 students? The cost of feeding 12 students simply means substitute 12 for n here and find what cost is. So cost is simply minus 10 plus 10 times 12. 10 times 12 is 120. So this minus 10 plus 120. And so the cost will be 120 minus 10 is $110. B says, in this diagram, A, B, C, D are points on a circle. Line AB is parallel to line DC. Line AC and line BD intersect at S, and angle BDC is 40 degrees. Find angle ACD and angle ASD. I've done justice on circle theory, where I discuss all the theorems and with some solved examples. You can check the videos on my playlist. So, like I often tell students, when you are given a problem on circle theory, you want to start with the angle you know or you are given, and then use the theorems at your fingertips to figure out what you are asked to. I mean, circle theorem is such a simple topic that even without solving, you could know what the answers are. And so, since we are told that AB and DC are parallel lines, which is indicated by this, you recall, if you have two parallel lines and there's a transversal, remember, what do we remember from that? Two parallel lines and there's a transversal. We know that this angle is equal to this angle. The reason is alternate angles. So, angle ABD equals angle BDC equals 40 degrees. Reason is alternate angles are equal. So if here is 40 degrees, here is also 40 degrees, which is what we are looking for, ACD. And the reason is angles on the same segment because they lie on this segment. It's just one of the theorems in circle geometry. So because this lies on this segment, this angle and this angle are equal. Angle ACD equals angle ABD equals 40 degrees. The reason is angles on the same segment. Period. As easy as that. Find angle ASD. Angle ASD. So this angle. We are looking for this angle. We know what this angle is from our A, from the first part. If you watch, this angle is the sum of this and this, because the exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the opposite interior angles. That is, if I have a triangle like this and I have this exterior angle, this angle is equal to this and this. C is A, this is B, this is C. C is A plus B. And so with this, I know that this ASD simply means angle BDC plus angle ACD. And this is 40 plus 40. Reason is exterior angle of a triangle equals sum of two opposite interior angles. And so this is 80 degrees. Is what we have. The 11th question of WAEC mathematics theory is a problem on matrices and probability. Let's look at what it says. Given that P is 2, 4, minus 1, 9, and Q is 1, minus 1, 3, minus 2, find PQ plus 2Q. Now, one can decide to multiply P with Q and then find 2Q and then add it and you get the answer. Correct. But that is a longer process. If you notice, Q is on the right of this and this. So we can factorize Q to the right and then add P and 2I. And then multiply the result with the Q we factorize and then get the answer. This is the shorter process. So what I mean is PQ plus 2Q is the same as P plus 2I, because if you factorize Q out, this will remain 2I, because you cannot factorize the matrix and you are left with a number. So this is what this means. And so I can easily add this. This is simply, my P is 2, 4, minus 9, 1. 2I, I is just the identity matrix. And so 2I will be 2 times, let me just put it 2, 1, 0, 0, 1. And then everything multiplied by Q. Let me put it this way. 1 minus 1, 3 minus 2. And so if you multiply this, you get 2, 4 minus 9, 1. If you open this, this is 2, 0, 0, 2. And then you multiply with Q, 1 minus 1, 3 minus 2. If you multiply this Q from the left, you will be wrong. So if we add this, just correspondingly 2 plus 2, we have 4. 4 plus 0, 4. Minus 9 plus 0, minus 9. 1 plus 2, 3. And then multiply with our Q, 1 minus 1, 3 minus 2. So from product of matrices, our normal way. So this times this plus this times this. Let's go. 4 times 1 plus 4 times 3. The same thing, this times this plus this times this. 4 times minus 1 plus 4 times minus 2. This times this times this times plus this times this. Minus 9 times 1 plus 3 times 3. this times this plus this times this. So minus 9 times minus 1 plus 3 times minus 2. And so this is 4 times 1 is 4 plus 12. This is minus 4 minus 8. This is minus 9 plus 9. And this is plus 9 minus 6. And so if we add this together, we'll get 4 plus 12, 16, minus 4 minus 8 minus 12, minus 9 minus 9 is 0, 9 minus 6 is 3, which is the same answer you will get when you choose to go through the longer process. Multiplying this and then 2 times this, you get the same answer. B says a bag contains 8 red balls and some white balls, all of the same size. If the probability of drawing at random a white ball from the bag is half the probability of drawing a red ball, find the number of white balls in the bag. So we start with this problem we are asked, find the number. So we start by saying, let the number of white balls be x. And so if there are a total of 8 red balls and some white balls, the probability of drawing a white ball from the bag, so probability of drawing white is just number of whites over how many balls are inside. So total balls will be 8 red plus x white. So 8 plus x. Probability of drawing a red ball is simply 8 over 8 plus x. So now the probability of drawing a white ball from the bag is half the probability of a red ball. So this probability of white is half the probability of red. Simply means probability of white, which is this, is half the probability of red. That's what it says. Find the number of balls in the bag, the number of white balls in the bag. This can go with this is 4. And so we have x over 8 plus x equals 4 over 8 plus x. This 8 plus s can cancel each other. If I multiply through by the LCM, 8 plus s, this can go with this, and so x is simply 4. So there are 4 white balls in the bag. The 12th problem of WAEC 2025 mathematics theory is a problem on arithmetic progression and longitude and latitude. Let's look at what it says. The 8th term of an AP is 46, and the sum of the first 8 terms is 200. Find the first term. Okay, let's see. 8th term of an AP. Remember, the nth term of an AP is a plus n minus 1 d, and the sum of an AP is sum n over 2, 2a plus n minus 1 d. So we are going to use this formula to solve this problem. The 8th term of an AP, n is 8, where a is the first term, n is the number of terms, d is the common difference. N is 8. If we substitute, this is 46. So we have 46 equals a plus 8 minus 1, 7d. Let's call this equation 1. From equation 2, let's substitute. The sum of the first 8 terms is 200. So 200 equals 8 over 2 is 4. So this is 2a plus 8 minus 1 is 7d. If you observe, we have a plus 7d here. And so we can easily substitute. We can split this to be 200 equals 4a plus a plus 7d. And so since a plus 7d from equation 1 is 46, so we can substitute 46 here. This is 200 equals 4a plus 46. We can divide both sides by 4. And so 4 into 200 is 50. And this is a plus 46. If you subtract 46 from both sides, you will get a to be 4. Since we have gotten what a is, we can find what d is because we need it to find the sum of the first 12 terms. So we could call this equation 2 from equation 1. We have 46 equals, we have gotten a to be 4 plus 7d. And so subtract 4 from both sides. We have 46 minus 4 is 42. So divide both sides by 7 to find d. We'll get d as 6. Now, we are asked to look for the sum of the first 12 terms. So we use this formula again. Sum of the first 12 terms will be, since it's 12, n is 12. So 12 over 2, 2 times a, our a is 4, plus 12 minus 1, 11, and our common difference is 6. This is 6 bracket 8 plus 66. This is 6, 8 plus 66 is 74. Yes. And 74 times 6 is 444. That's it. B says the point X 70 degrees south, 60 degrees east, and Y 7 degrees south, 60 degrees east lie on the surface of the earth. Illustrate the information in a diagram. This is longitude and latitude. So let this be the earth surface, and this is the line that runs from the North Pole to the South Pole. And this is the line of equator. These are lines of longitude. So since we are interested in east, which is what I've drawn now, let's call this 60 degree east, and south. So this is south, this is north. 70 degrees south. So from this equator, as you go towards the pole, it increases. So this is from 0 to 90. And so 70 will be along this side, and 7 degrees will be close to the equator. So this is 7 degrees south, and this is 70 degree south. So this is the point. So X is here and Y is here. We are asked to look for, so this is the diagram we're asked to look for. This is south, this is north. Find the distance between X and Y, this distance, along the meridian. Take pi to be 22/7 and r to be 6,400. So what we are actually looking for is this length of arc. We just use the formula for length of arc since it's along the meridian and not along the equator. So the distance xy is simply theta over 360 times 2 by radius of the earth. But how do we get theta? Theta is, since they are both on the same part of the earth's surface, south-south, we subtract their differences. But if they are on the opposite side, south and east, south and north, we add their degrees. So theta is 70 degrees minus 7 degrees, and this is 63 degrees. So this is 63 over 360 times 2 times 22 over 7 times 6,400. If you multiply this, you should get 7040 kilometer. So this is the distance from X to Y. So if an aeroplane want to travel from this point X to Y, to take him 7,040 kilometers. The 13th question of WAEC 2025 mathematics theory is a problem on variance and probability. Let's look at what it says. The following are the marks scored by 20 students in a test. So they are listed. We are asked to prepare a frequency table for the distribution using class intervals 10 to 12, 13 to 15, 16 to 18. So we'll start by listing out the things we need. We need the intervals. We need the frequency, and we need the tally. Let's get this done first. And so for the intervals, we are asked to use 10 to 12, 13 to 15. The highest number is 27, 16 to 18, 19 to 21, 22 to 24, 25 to 27. And so from 10 to 12, let's look at the frequency. 10 to 12, 1. Let's 1. 2. There are just 2 of them, and this is how we write it, 2 stroke. From 13 to 15, let's do it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5. And so this is how we do it: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From 16 to 18, let's circle it. 16 to 18, 1, 2, 3. We have 3. This is just 1, 2, 3. From 19 to 21, 19 to 21, let's draw square. 19 to 21, 1, 2. We have 2. From 22 to 24, let's draw triangle. 22 to 24, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From 25 to 27, can count 1, 2, just 2 of them. 2. So if you total this should give us 20. This is 7, 10, 18, 20. So our total frequency summation of F is 20. So let's extend this to put other things we need. We will need x and we need fs to find our mean that will be useful in finding the variance. And then after this, we'll need the deviation from the mean, and then we'll need the deviation from the mean square, and finally we'll need f and the deviation from the mean square. And so if we put everything together, x is simply the average of this. The average of this is 10 plus 12 is 22, divided by 2 is 11. This is 28 divided by 2, 14. So if we follow, this is 34 divided by 2 is 17. So difference of 3, this will be 20. This will be 23. This will be 26. Yes. And so Fs, this 22. 10 times 5 is 50. 4 times, so this is 70. 3 times 17 is 51. 2 times 20 is 40. 6 times 3 is 6 times 20 is 120. 6 times 3 is so 138. 2 times 26 is 52. And so if we sum this, summation of fx will get 373. Now let's look for the deviation from the mean. X minus x bar. How do we get x bar? How do we find the mean? The mean S bar is simply summation of fx over summation of f, which is 373 over 20. This is 18.65. And so if we subtract x from S bar, 11 minus 18.65 is minus 7.65. 14 minus 18.65 is minus 4.65. 17 minus 18.65 is minus 1.65. 20 minus 18.65 is 1.35. 23 minus 18.65 is 4.35. 26 minus 18.65 is 7.35. If we square this, we will get 58.5225. If we square this, we will get 21.6225. If we square this, we will get 2.7225. If we square this, we will get 1.8225. If we square this, we will 18.9225. If we square this, we will get 54.0225. And then if we multiply it by the frequency, 2 times this, we will get 117.045. If we times 5 times this, we will get 108.113. If we times 3 times this, we will get 8.168. If we times 2 times this, we will get 3.645. If we times 23, 6 times this, we will get 113.535. If we times 2 times this, we will get 108.045. And so if we add this all together, we will get summation of f x minus s bar all square. This is 458.561. So what we are looking for is the variance of the distribution. We know that variance is simply summation of f of x minus x bar all square over summation of f. And so we have gotten summation of f of x minus s bar square as 458.56. 458.56 over summation of f is 20. If we divide this, we will get 22.9275. If we approximate it to two decimal place, this will be 22 point. This is above 5. Round it up and put here 93. Now, C says if the pass mark for the test was 16, find the probability that a student selected at random from the class failed. Now, we have to look at this. These are the marks. If the pass mark is 15, 16, so the pass mark are from this above. So those that score 16 to 27, they are the ones that pass. Find the probability that a student selected at random from the class failed. So the number of students that fail will be those that scored from 10 to 15, which will be 2 plus 5. So number of students that failed will be 2 plus 5, which is 7. So probability of people that failed will be 7 over the number of students in the class. Thank you for watching. If you have watched up to this point, I appreciate your time. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. See you in the next video. Till we meet again, keep doing maths right. Bye.